favorite person to talk to. I love this.
Hi.
Hi, Marla. I love this. I mean, I feel like a little guilty that I feel like I'm making you do this, but I feel like also I wouldn't get to talk to you so much if I didn't make you do this. So
Well,
this
look,
is fun.
I'm grateful you're making me do this because about 4 hours ago, I was on the couch in fetal position crying because baby girl had probably one of her worst nights last night. And I was this close to texting you and saying, I'm so sorry. Can we move it to next week? And I thought, you know what? Come on. I got to put on my big girl pants, just like my baby girl does. And I feel so much better that I'm here talking to you.
Well, I woke up with the worst period ever. And so I was going to be like, I want to sit in my sweatpants and not take a shower and not do anything today. So, I mean, yours is worse. But yeah, kind of. But I do feel better that I showered and put makeup on.
Yep,
Do you?
It always makes a difference. It does.
And that's what my mom used to say. Like, just shower, put some makeup on, and you'll feel better. Which is like so like shallow, but honestly, it works most of the time.
I don't know. Shallow. I think it makes sense, right? You just wash everything off. You feel refreshed. That helps. And like I said, I'm just glad that I pulled it together and here I am. You might hear the crying baby in the background though. She's still a little fussy today and we can even bring her on.
It's okay. I mean, the crazy part about this stage, because she's nearly 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like the minute you think you have it and the routine is down, boom, like she's like up all night. You said the night before she like slept 6.5 hours. And I'm sure part of you was like, sweet, I'm going to sleep 6.5 hours from now on. And then literally the next night, she's up all night crying and you have no idea why. And was she tired, overstimulated, gassy, needed to burp, needed to poop? Like, I'm assuming you never figured it out. Who knows?
Never figured it out. I checked on the channel. Yeah, she had to change diapers. She was fed. She was burped, you name it. And still it did not matter. But they are smart little creatures because she would fall asleep, no problem, on my chest or in my arms. And then the minute that you think you have them, that, okay, they're in that deep REM state, because you can see, I can see the facial expressions, like her eyes were back in her head. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, she is in a deep sleep. So I put her down gently, do everything that I've learned to make them still calm. And then I tiptoe away and maybe 60 seconds go by. And then it's like, like
totally. And I told you I gave you that book, my favorite sleep book. And it's
the Bible.
It is that moment, where you have to teach them to learn to do that on their own, which is, I think, the hardest first lesson as a parent, which is allowing them to put themselves to sleep. So it's putting them down when it's like after that, I remember that first or second yawn and my husband would be like, has it been 3 yawns? Like, put them down. Like, it's letting them get themselves to sleep before they're asleep and before they hit that moment so that they can figure that out themselves. And it is, I think, excruciating as a parent because, first of all, the feeling of them falling asleep on you is like, it's like none other. Like it's so delicious. It's so, as comforting as it is for them, it's so comforting for you. It's just like,
it's very sweet. Yes.
Oh, it's so sweet. You're removing that from yourself, which is like heartbreaking. And then you're giving them this lesson, which is also this gift, right? This first lesson of how to soothe yourself.
Self-soothe.
Totally. And then they learn how to use a pacifier or use their thumb or none of the above and find a way to get themselves to sleep. And it's truly this first gift, which they'll translate into all these other things in life. But you have to like live through the crying, which is, it's really, really hard.
It's very really hard. It's very hard.
So little.
I know they're little teeny tiny beings, and to allow them to self-soothe is a painful experience. I am proud to say that since we last spoke, there have been some milestones where before she was really just basically on me sleeping.
Of course.
Let's call a spade a spade. It's just they're tiny and it made for much more quiet nights. So she was in the bed. Then we tried her in, the bassinet that wasn't working. And then you sent the Bible book of study, of sleep. And, oh, okay. So put them down to your point when they're drowsy, not when they're asleep. Drowsy.
Right.
That was like tip number one that I was doing wrong, that we were doing wrong.
Well, when they're first a few weeks old, like you can't do it. It's like you have to wait a little bit. Like they have the ability to learn for sure.
It was literally on 4 weeks and 1 day, we got her in the crib and it was a success. And, I had 2 overnight stints of breastfeeding, which is completely normal and fine. And she, was able to go back to bed. And that's funny you say that, because that next day, in the morning, it's like, I felt like I won the lottery. I'm like, we did it, and this is smooth sailing from here on out. No, of course, because there are the good nights and then the bad nights.
Yeah.
And yes, a night ago, she had her best, longest sleep, which was almost 6.5 hours. But that didn't mean 6.5 hours straight for me, because I woke up around 4 hours and looked at the clock and thought, okay, any minute now, I'm going to hear the first whimpers and then the big cries. And that didn't happen. And then I tiptoed into her room to make sure she was still alive, literally alive. And I couldn't see even her little chest moving up and down. I'm like, oh my gosh, should I wake up my husband? Should I wake up my husband? No, you're being crazy. You're being crazy. Got back into bed, couldn't sleep at all. And then she slept again for almost 6.5 hours. And from 4 to 6.5 hours, she finally let out some whimpers. And I thought, yes, she is not deceased. She is still with us. Thank goodness. Yet at the same time, I'm thinking, just stay asleep. Just go a whole 8 hours at this point, please. But 6.5 hours was a great start. So we know that she can do it.
Yeah, she can do it. Totally. My middle son, Maverick, he defied every rule, and I really broke every rule. So, and he still is like this. He preferred to sleep in a really hot room on his stomach. And his bottle, because I would pump and then feed him breast milk. His bottle, he liked, you don't use bottles yet, but you test it on your inner wrist to see how hot it is when you warm up the bottle, like scalding hot, like burn yourself hot.
That he would want it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Everything that you are not supposed to do. So when he would those first nights go for long periods of time, I would be like, oh my God, he's going to die, because his room's 90 degrees. He's on his stomach, and I've given him 140-degree bottle of breast milk. But, he's 19 years old now and a thriving human. But it was so hard. I was petrified. And my husband would be like, he's fine. That's how he likes to live. I'm like, oh my God.
What's so funny is, that sounds like hot baby yoga. You could be on to something there, really. But number 2, I don't know. I think times have changed, because now you don't have to warm up your breast milk. I mean, it's all preference to whatever your baby wants. But, I thought, because I have pumped and then let John obviously feed. And I've done solely breast milk, so I feel like a milk machine through and through.
Yeah. A full-blown cow. Yeah.
A total cow. I mean, literally. Yeah. And that's the other thing that I think gets lost in all this, and I've expressed this to my husband, is that, she just latches on, and she can be in a rage, and then she latches on and all is well for her. And then, you give her back. I give her back to John. And then it's more playtime with him, and then go to mom for the milk. And that's it. Just be grumpy with mom and then happy with dad. I'm like, what is this? I feel so used.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Welcome to the rest of your life.
Seriously. I can only imagine.
With that said, now it's been a few more weeks. What are other surprises? Not in terms of we'll get to the emotional and all of that, but what are the other surprises with your body? These bodily changes and fluctuations. What else has happened? What has happened with your body almost 6 weeks postpartum that you weren't expecting, or you were expecting, but are still different?
Okay. So I've been photographing myself once a week just to see the progress.
Wow.
So and it actually happens on Wednesdays, and we're recording this on a Wednesday.
Okay.
So I did the photo this morning.
That's really brave. That's really brave.
Well, just for my sake, that's not going out to anyone.
Well, I would, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this day and age, right?
Yeah,
it would probably, but it's one of those things that I was inspired by, on social media, and you see women, because now my whole feed is about pregnancy and motherhood and all of that. So I've seen women do that, and I thought I wanted to do that. Just, it makes you accountable. And it's amazing though, just how, I was 5 weeks ago versus today, and I've made significant progress without, your body just starts to just acclimate into what it was before. Obviously I do my best to eat well and then get outside as much as possible with her. I'm coming up on the 6-week mark where I will be clear and be able to do physically what I want. It's amazing, my incision, because I did get a C-section, how much that has healed on its own. That's been a surprise on how, I guess, quickly that happens. That's for me. Because I've heard other stories that it's taken a lot longer. So I'm proud of my body for that. What's been a big surprise to me, and this is, I hate to even admit this and talk about it, but it's very true. Body odor. I have BO, and it's awful. It is awful. And I shower every day, and I wear deodorant, and I actually, and the reason why I bring this up is because I subscribe to a weekly newsletter from Baby List, and Baby List every week comes out with like postpartum, you're now 5 weeks.
Oh, I did Baby List too. I remember that.
Yeah. And it really helpful information where it validates things that are happening to you when you wonder what in the heck, because I could call my pediatrician or OB every day, really, with questions, but I don't want to bother them unless it's an emergency. But the Baby List this week was 5 weeks postpartum BO. And I'm like, oh, good. Like, I am normal.
Doesn't it make you feel good? You're not like, that's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yes. Your hormones have, drastically changed. Progesterone, estrogen levels declining. You're sweating at night, which I really, really, really am.
And you're still having crazy night sweats.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why. And of course, when I say I have BO, like I'm not sitting here right now and smelling.
I understand.
But it's just in the middle of the night or the next morning, once the sun rises, and I'm going, is that me? I need to get in the shower. Oh my gosh. So that's, but it says it doesn't last, like anything else. This is all just kind of fluctuates and comes and goes. And it's one of those things that I didn't know about. So here I am.
We all have a body odor, right? It's like body odor means, an odor which our body emits. So what it means is right now your body odor has changed from your norm, right? So like back to what, my mantra, like, know your normal. So your body odor is outside of what your normal is for very good reason. Like your hormones are in complete fluctuation. So, they skyrocketed and changed because you were just at the height of your pregnancy and pushed a baby out of your body. And now they're figuring out how to normalize, but not really, because you're producing an insane amount of milk. Like you are feeding another human. And so your hormones are not close to normalizing. Actually, they are all over the place because your body is losing baby weight, right? But still holding on to all these fats and proteins that your body normally doesn't hold on to. So you're excreting the fluids that your body held on to during 9 months of pregnancy, but yet still holding on to these proteins and fats that you would normally excrete. And you're getting rid of these odors of like things that are in your body. It's like your body is like so outside of its norm stasis. Yeah. And so that's why. And most women go through a similar situation right around this 6-week time, which also shows you why she is going through sleep changes, because of what you're giving her in her milk, right? Probably lines up with your body odor because of the proteins and fats that are going into her milk, which shows you that she is going to go through a crazy growth spurt right now. Like she's going to hit a growth spurt, do some sort of roll over, some sort of big,
yeah, she's already showing signs. I mean, she's a strong little girl. I mean, she is really strong. Tummy time, her neck is so strong.
Hold her head up, right? So like, it all makes sense when you take a bird's eye view, but when you're like, why the fuck do I smell? Like,
why?
It's
why
really
is
crazy.
Happening? Yeah. Like I run marathons, as you know, and I don't smell after a marathon. Like literally, I'm not that one who smells.
Right.
It's wild. So yes,
it's
here
really
I am.
Interesting.
Oh, the other surprising thing to me, and again, having never had a child and therefore never breastfed before, is sort of I was speaking to a lactation expert from St. John's. Shout out to St. John's Medical Center, where baby girl Sloan was born on your birthday, March 23rd. I was starting to get the sort of shooting pains every once in a while in my breasts. And I chalked it up to, because I was obviously noticing the correlation of that's like when my milk's coming in. And then I was concerned, was this an infection? Because I forget what the name of the infection is too, that a lot of women get from like clogged
milk ducts.
Yeah. And all of that. That's not the case for me. Thank goodness, knock on wood, I don't have an infection. But that's exactly what I was feeling. And so I didn't realize that, because that didn't happen in the first couple of weeks of breastfeeding. And then suddenly I feel like my milk came in like full force a little bit later, because now it's just like, oh, my body is, now it knows every 1.5 to 3 hours that the milk comes in. And that's what the lactation expert nurse explained to me, is that it's just now regulating, and that shooting pain that I'm feeling is that. And it's not like, oh my gosh, unbearable pain. It's just really, it's like fireworks in your breasts, and it'll wake you up. So that's also normal. So again, outside of know you're normal, I've learned what that is, and, I can rest easy now. So there's a lot of validation that goes into whatever motherhood period at any stage. I can just, foresee that at this point. It's always worth, I think, repeating. And I've said this before, and I keep saying this, that no matter how much advice I got prior and how much you think you're prepared, I really don't think that there is, unless you're superhuman. There's a mother out there who was, oh, I got this, like for their first child. Like, it's so overwhelming in every way, positive and negative. And I'm bringing up social media again, just because it's so much part of our lives these days. And there's a lot of good information out there. But even with all of that good information out there, you don't really, even if you see the less optimal sides of the first couple of weeks or months, it still cannot prepare you. And until you go through it yourself, it's unrelatable. I think that's the best way to describe it.
In some ways, the more stuff you have, the harder it is.
Oh, it's just overload.
It's overload. And I think like the women who have babies in the middle of nowhere with nothing, like it's probably way easier,
Right.
Like you make do with nothing, and I think the more stuff we have, the easier it is. I remember Linus, my older son, was really gassy as a baby and loved this vibrating bassinet I had for him. And, in the middle of the day, he would like be so happy laying on his tummy in the bassinet, and it would vibrate, and he would just like fart all day because it would make him really happy. And, and I remember we'd be like, what would we do without this vibrating bassinet, letting him toot all day.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, like, what would I do if I lived somewhere where they didn't, I didn't have access to this thing? And I was like, I don't know, he'd be fine. And I'd be like, patting him all day, or like, rubbing his tush. But I think that you make do, and so all the stuff, I think, the bigger your diaper bag is with all this crap, makes it hard. Like, what did I forget every time you leave the house?
And
it's tricky.
That reminds me, is one of the milestones that I had personally too, was I went to lunch with a fellow new mom, and her baby happened to be born. Our connection is that her baby girl was also born on March 23rd. So we were in a birthing class together prior. And then I was walking the halls after giving birth to Sloan. I'm walking the halls, and all of a sudden I hear Marla. And it was Jessica, who I recognized from the birthing class. And lo and behold, she had a baby girl 10 hours after we did on March 23rd. So we've been in touch, which has been special. And we, for the first time that both of us, we went to lunch last Friday. And that was the first time that I have, packed up Sloan on my own, put her in the car and drove to lunch. And I was so nervous to the point where again, the night before I'm thinking, should I do this? Should I cancel? And then Jessica texted to confirm. I thought, well, if she's doing it, then I'm doing it. Look. And then John said, hey, you're both in the same boat,
Totally.
So every step of the way, I was nervous, but baby girl, Sloan, she was great. We were able to have lunch. She slept the whole time. And I was so proud. I mean, that 1.5 hours of just being out and having that connection with her, Jessica, and her baby was really special because I think it really reiterated emphasized the importance of having that sisterhood, motherhood tribe around you because we commiserated the whole lunch, because she had an unexpected C-section as well. So it was, how are you doing? What are you going through? How's your baby? What have you tried? And all of that. It just felt so, so good. And so for new mothers, expecting mothers potentially watching this, I think it's really important to hit home that point that it's so good to have those around you in your circle who can relate and help. It makes an immense amount of difference.
It totally does. And knowing that reminding yourself that you're confident and brave and all the incredible things you've done in your life.
Yes.
You can put your baby in the car. You can have that mirror turned. You can watch her and you can do it.
Yes.
90% of the time she will sleep the whole time. It's amazing. You have everything in that bag to get you through probably 3 days, but you can make it through lunch. She probably never got out of her car seat, right?
No,
she didn't. You probably had enough diapers to last for 4 days, but you were fine. And to remind yourself that you could do this is really amazing because all of a sudden that bravery and confidence really gets tested when you are solely in charge of this other human being. It's really unbelievable. And it's the rest of your life. It is. And it's really important to remind yourself of that. And like you said, to be in cahoots with someone else who's in the same boat so that
that helps
you can
so
look
much.
at each other.
No judgment.
None.
And then her baby was crying a little bit during lunch. And, Jessica was saying, I'm sorry. It was like, no. Come on. Sloan is asleep right now, but the next time we get together, she could be, crying too. It doesn't. Who cares?
Projectile vomiting, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You'll never get on a plane again and be, you might be a little annoyed, but you'll never be annoyed at the baby crying on the plane again. Because
you know what that's like.
It could be yours. Yeah. You'll just be hey, I get it. There's nothing you could do. How much stuff can you shove in that little baby's mouth? It is what it is, They paid for the seat too. What are you going to do? It just is. If you don't want to hear that, don't get on a plane with strangers. Drive.
Well, that was also another thing that we did in the last couple weeks was we did our first road trip, and because we are trying to get out of the house and not live. We want her to be exposed to as much of life early on as possible.
So you get cabin fever. You gotta get
So we road tripped from here to the Bay Area, which is where
you went to see your mom, right?
Yep. And I was a wreck before, I mean, John takes all this in stride, but me, I'm going, should we go? Should we not? And he is the brave one and inspires me. So thank goodness for my husband. But we got in the car and, of course she sleeps most of the time. I mean, it's fine. Yes, it's going to throw off the schedule, but she's whatever. I mean, it's a day.
So this is itty bitty at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? So I was so proud. I'm like, okay, we did that. Okay, good. We know we can take her in the car. We know that I can take her on my own and go to lunch. We know that there is life outside of our home and she will survive and we'll get through it together.
Yes, totally. I think someone gave me advice. They were like, enjoy the period where they can't move, because the hardest time to travel is when they're like on the move, because then you can't strap them down. Like that's a period that's really hard, like that, like when they just start to like crawl and then walk, and until they're then happy to like watch a show, like that's when it's hard to travel. Like that sucks. And it's true. So like until you're like, when you're in this stage, you're pretty good. Like that's a good time to do stuff.
Right. You can set her down and you know she's really not going to go very far.
This little girl can't move. Like she's strapped down. Like they're good to go.
Yeah.
And in a car, you can always pull over. Like that's not so difficult. So yeah, you just have to remind yourself you've done really hard things in your life. Like you got this. And you're like a walking restaurant. So, you don't have to worry.
True.
So I think, that's
walking
hard.
Restaurant. That's cute. Yes, I am.
You are. The hardest part is finding somewhere for you to go to the bathroom, I think. That's the hardest part.
True.
Do you feel like your body has recovered in the time that you thought it would? Or do you feel like it's taking, like to me, you've recovered really quickly and physically you look amazing. Like, do you feel like,
thank you,
this is taking longer? Like in terms of like,
well, I think
like moving and getting around, not just like how you look so great, but I mean like your insides and, how you feel strength wise.
It's hard for me to totally answer that without establishing that, I've never experienced this before. So I don't know what you're supposed to feel afterward. And again, I didn't expect a C-section. So I know recovery is different for a C-section versus vaginal. I don't even know how so, right? I mean, I don't know what's worse or how the vaginal process would have been for me. When I first came home 2 days after delivering her, my body looked unrecognizable. And I didn't expect that, meaning I came home heavier from the hospital than when I went in. And that was confusing to me. It's like, I just gave birth to a 7-pound, 5-ounce baby girl, and now I weigh more.
Yeah, you had so much fluid retention.
How does that happen? So I didn't know that was an option. And so that was my reality. So I didn't expect that. Where I've come in 5 weeks is remarkable. So yes, I'm fascinated by the human body. And then even the elasticity, I guess, of your skin, it's amazing how it just sort of retracts. And I'm still like jello-y in here, more so obviously than before I gave birth. But I mean, that's all part of the process. But so ultimately I would say that I am fascinated how 5 weeks has really made such a difference. When I'm out and about as a runner, I just want to go run miles and miles and miles, and I'm, not there. And obviously, why should I be? That's silly at this point. The strength that I felt prior, I don't have right now, but that'll just come in due time. I mean, I have to remember that breastfeeding quite literally is an athletic sport. I mean, you're producing, when you produce the milk, you're burning calories. When you're giving her the milk, you're burning calories. And it's pretty amazing how that is. So my hunger level is really through the roof. And I didn't anticipate
that thirsty,
either.
Right? Aren't you so thirsty all the time?
Oh, so thirsty. I mean, I just jug. Well, I'm like flowing with my breast milk. That's so funny to me when she's crying. I put her on, she latches on, and then you can hear, and then the milk starts to come around her lips. Like, you gotta slow down, girl. And then it's like spewing out, slow down. Yeah.
That's funny. I remember did they give you that like jug from the hospital, that like huge? It's funny, when I had babies, we didn't have like, they didn't have all these like big, like a hydro flask. Like they didn't have these, whatever, all these different kinds of things back then. So they had this like plastic. Plastic.
No, they did. They did give me that.
Yeah. That was like the best thing. I kept that for months. I was like, this is the best jug ever to drink, because I was so thirsty. Yeah. Because there was no like, I mean, now I like love my Nalgene bottle. Like there was nothing like that. I didn't have anything like that. It was so great. You just had like a water bottle that you threw out.
Yeah, they're still giving those out, by the way.
They're great. Yeah. I'd be like, Matt, fill it up at like 2 a.m. Like, I'm dying. I'm so parched.
Yeah, so parched, yet hot, and like the whole nine. It's amazing. And part of, I'm a very regimented person. So that's been a relief to sort of establish that nighttime, bedtime schedule for her. Cause that was part of my psyche, my issue before. It's like, this is so wild and sporadic and I don't know when she's going to eat and when does she go to sleep and how long and all of that. That's just so hard. And there's so many schedules out there that you can follow. And that's totally overwhelming. But now I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I need this much water next to me here. And then in her room too. So in my room and then in her room. And then, make sure that I have pacifiers here and burp cloths here and, have it all laid out. So it's nice and organized. That's been helpful too.
Definitely. And there's the cadence starts to come naturally, like the daily cadence and nightly cadence. It does. Certainly the first 6 weeks are like just wild, wild west. And then the cadence happens. It does.
It's true.
And she'll and it's crazy. It's like upside down life. You're just like living like, exhaustion, one feeding to the next, one poop to the next, but somehow there's a rhythm that builds and it starts to make sense. It changes a little. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, we actually have like a nap time. Like she has 3 naps a day. This makes sense. And then it's 2 naps a day and you can build your life around that. And it makes sense. There's like a schedule that starts to happen. Actually starting around 6 weeks, it starts little. And then definitely at 3 months, you're like, oh, like we have a life here. We have like a thing. And my guess is summertime, you'll be like, oh, we have like a daily-ish schedule that we can sort of work around, which is cool.
It's cool. But then also it's looking ahead to summertime and all of that. I'm going to go back to work and my schedule.
But that'll make it easier for you.
I don't know. I mean, it's a whole nother thing that I'm stressed about because I have such an atypical schedule. I basically work till midnight. So
I think predictability will make it easier because you'll be leaning on
through it. I want to get, it's just like the first day of school and you have a whole nother schedule. I mean, I think what I'm saying is we're establishing a cadence now that will only get better, but then it's going to be disrupted again when mom goes back to work and then we'll have to rediscover a cadence and that'll be fine too. It's just get the Band-Aid ripped off and let's just figure this out. How is our life going to look?
One step at a time.
Yeah.
One
and
day
that's what the nurse told me. One of the nurses who was a sweetheart at St. John's, she said, when you're sent home, you're so overwhelmed. At least I was. And I was crying and she said, look, you have to think of your days in 15-minute increments right now.
Yeah.
You're going to get in the car and you're going to drive home. So let's just focus on that. And then you're going to park the car and you're going to get her out of the car and you're going to put her in the house. Like that's another 15 minutes, and then figure out what you're doing the next 15 minutes. And if you think ahead, you're
literally your brain will blow off your body. Totally.
I mean, I would have been like, I can't do it. I don't know what to do.
Totally. So stressing out about when you go back to work now isn't worth it. Even though I know you're going to.
Agreed.
And this weird thing about like her schedule will be her schedule regardless of yours. So it'll have to be figuring out how they line up and how they work and then, figure that out. Like that's the crazy part about having another human in your life.
100%. And also, when you're saying that, it's like, I'm thinking about John and a lot of this is going to fall on him. So
God bless him. You both signed up for it,
Yes, we did.
Cool thing. Yeah. That's the cool thing.
Yeah, we paid. We paid a lot of money for it too.
You did.
We did IVF. That was not insured.
You really did. You did. This girl came with a big price tag.
Yes, she did. But she's worth it. She's worth every penny.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. That's why after 4 hours of sleep, you're like, wait a second. Can I need to feel your breathing?
I know. I'm like, can I see her little chest?
Oh, and the cool thing is every mom has done that. Every mom, like every mom, seriously, I can't tell you the dozens of times I've done that for sure. 100%. So the next time we talk will be in a few weeks.
Okay.
And I just can't wait to see what we talk about. My guess is it'll be what happens. What?
I was going to bring in Sloan real quick, even though
that's what I was going to say. But before we go, I want to see her because I'm sure she needs to feed soon. So I don't want to keep you too long.
Look at her little outfit. I put her in a cute little sweatsuit today with some flowers. And John, you're amazing. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, John. What are you most looking forward to in the next little stage of her? Oh my gosh, she's like a little doll. So cute.
No, look at her little belly.
Oh my belly.
Hi, baby. Look at the babies. Hi. Look at her belly. It's okay. It's okay.
She's so cute.
She's so sweet. What am I looking forward to? Sleep.
Like, did she like in the
no?
They're like in the next little mini stage. Like, what do you think? You're gonna get your 6-week checkup. What do you want to do with her? Do you want to put her in a jogging stroller and take her for a jog? Like, what do you think that'll feel like?
Without 100%. I mean, boom. Thank you for answering the question. Yes, this little girl, she loves movement. When part of her thing is, when she's fussy, she wants to move. And I think, she was so used to, I ran on the day I was induced. So
I know.
She is used to the little bouncy, huh? Look at her. She's such a cutie.
God, so cute. Look how strong her head is.
Oh, she's so strong. Hi, baby.
So Hi, baby. Cute.
Yeah. So definitely a little jog, a little run for mommy and baby girl, huh? She's looking at the lights. And I love her the other day, I will say this, when I picked her up at, I think it was a 1 a.m. feeding, and I had just changed her. Hi. And I sat her down and she was about to latch on, and, her eyes, she was wide awake, and she made this noise I had not heard. And I immediately started crying because it sounded like like a voice, like she was attempting to speak. And I know it's too soon, huh, baby? But it melted me. I mean, it was just the things that happen. I'm going, oh my God, I love you so much. Yeah. I
love that.
Yeah.
All the firsts are so amazing, and they happen so quickly, and so you just have to burn them into your brain. You can't even help. They just do. They get burned into your memory. It's just phenomenal. She's just gorgeous.
Oh, here we go.
She's like, enough. All right, go feed her.
Okay.
And we'll catch up soon. And I can't wait to hear about your first jog with her. It's going to be epic.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, thank you for having us. Love you.
We'll talk soon. Have a good afternoon.
Okay. Okay. Bye. Bye.